Our next speaker and guest is a very familiar faces to everybody here at WU. As head of the Institute for Transportation Logistics Management, he's shaped generations of supply chain managers. And many of us learned not only from the lectures, but from many of his publications and books, mostly mit Kummer on his organ, that stayed with many of us in one way or another. And today he will share his perspective on one of the most relevant topics shaking our fields right now, which is artificial intelligence in logistics and what it means for the future supply chain. So please help me welcome Professor Kummer on stage.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, when I was thinking this morning about my speech, I thought, why did I choose this topic on a Saturday afternoon when the sun is shining and everybody wants to enjoy? So better talk about sailing. Most probably also I'm better in talking about sailing than in AI. Okay, that's not the best introduction, no. Because when we discussing the topic, I said, we would like to talk about AI. I think Gerald told also about that, because obviously this is the topic for the companies, for the society, but also for us in academia. And I could say, okay, in 2 years I will retire. That's not a joke, it's true, unfortunately. Our goal is in the next 2 years to update the books. I think textbooks have to change tremendously. If you look at our textbooks, Beschaffung, Produktion, Logistik, and we will do with Gerald also, there was a lot of content and knowledge transfer, and now we have to rethink that. So I was very enthusiastic about the topic, and I hope I can share you with some ideas. So I would like to make a short introduction, then state of artificial intelligence in supply chain management. I would like to show you what we do in research. Of course, it's mainly what I have been doing. The other colleagues also, of course, do, because from my estimations, more or less like 50% of our, even also master's thesis now, there are a lot of dealing with artificial intelligence. And I will show you some very, very funny things also. You know that I don't know why my wife is, my wife also, but my life is always very funny. Yeah, and then challenges for managers and employees, because of course we say, yeah, it's Alumni Day, we want to give you something that you can take back home, and you say, yeah, this I will do. So let's start with the introduction. Use this slide always because it shows our three tasks at the university: teaching, research, and the third mission. We are very proud that we still stay number 2 worldwide. In the center is the third mission. And so it was so easy. I got in within, I don't know, 3 weeks, 300,000, only by following a bit the rules. You have to post every morning. So I'm very good. When I get up in the morning, I am full of ideas. And so I only took one of the ideas and then posted it, and the people like it very often. And then I did the next step is 500,000, and then I said, 1 million could be cool. Last year I got to 1.3 million in the last 365 days. And I was very happy. I have this as an example. That's Meet Austria's 100 most famous influencers. I start with the introduction about research. We do a lot of research, and I think also WU, for us, it's very important, not only to be in the teaching rankings up, but also in the searchers ranking. And this is one. Scholar GPS, you can look at Google also, and then you find other YouTube. It combines my passions, and so I think always if we do something, we should do it with passion. I think that will also stay with AI, because I think that artificial intelligence doesn't have passion, and I'm not so sure it will have, and there are some differences still. And my passions are quite clear: sailing, as I already said, and supply chain management and transportation, and a bit of traveling, but always very fun funny places also. Yeah, let's start with the AI. And AI, from my point of view, is a typical example of Amara's law. From 2007, Amara formulated, we tend to underestimate in the long term and overestimate the impact of technology in the short term. And that leads to these much older than you, so I have been seeing some hype. For example, the new economy bubble around 2000, all the e-commerce companies, they were evaluated very high. It was a hype, and then it fall down. And a lot of people when there's this hype, they think, it's a hype, and they overestimate the technology on the short term and underestimate the impact on the long term. And as you know now, of course, 20 years later, we know that yes, there was a kind of valley or a kind of depression in this e-commerce sector, but Amazon and now everything are changing that. And we had, I think that as we are living now in a very much faster time, it's very interesting. You remember when ChatGPT came out? A lot of people were very impressive and said, yes, ChatGPT. And then they worked with ChatGPT, and then they said, it's a bit average. Even sometimes I get disappointed if we read AI-produced theses. I said, it's very disappointing. It's so average that you can see. And then, but I think now this kind of there was a hype in 2000, short hype, and then there was a bit the people were a bit disappointed. But now many people see that how much is the power, because it's the speed the artificial intelligence has is incredible. And this I have not seen in my life. I have seen a lot of hypes, I've seen a lot of crises also, but the speed of crises that we have now, the speed of the technology development is really impressive. That autonomous driving is a bit the same. We wrote with Mohammed Asmat, some of you know, we wrote I think 8 or 10 years ago the first articles about autonomous driving, and we would say, yes, in 10 years it will be there. No? And okay, I think now it is there, but also it took longer. And so you see the same also. We still in Europe still think, oh, autonomous driving will not come, and it will change our mobility completely. And artificial intelligence is a very old term. The first chatbots in 1963, and something you don't know, this is something I never presented, is my diploma thesis was about Ansatzpunkte Computerunterstützung schöpferischer Forschungs- und Entwicklungsaktivitäten und ihre betriebswirtschaftliche Beurteilung. You know, in format, the longer title was, the better it was, the people were thinking. But it's about computer support of research and development. So computer-aided research and development. And there were some citations later. Yeah, and then something that is interesting, 1997, AI beats the chess world champion, because before the people were saying, yes, but chess, it's so complex, AI will never do. No? And I posted on LinkedIn, but it was not a good post, I don't know why. It's very funny. There's now the first ping pong, table tennis computer was beating the first number 25 in ping pong. And you can imagine, and ping pong is something that is very, very difficult, because you have the spin, you can hardly calculate, or you have to calculate very, very fast. And why I posted this, why I say to this, I think it's the same. The power of the calculations is incredible that we have, so we can do many things. And then there was the hype. Yeah, and this is from my source here, and it says the term artificial intelligence is only unscharf, means not very precise defined, and that's still the same. If the people talk about artificial intelligence, they mean everything. And that's also interesting. It's used in vielfältigen Nuancen. Maybe you could translate it in different fields, different contexts, or something like that. And that's still the same thing. So now here you see the speed. What changed? The top black line is the human benchmark. So this is the line normally where average people can do. So handwriting recognition, speak recognition. And you see what happened in the last years is a bit an older source from 2021, but it shows impressively still why now all these artificial intelligence tools are coming. Because what they did is they first put up the different, let's say, tools, and now we put it together. And obviously, if you have a large language model, the computer has to understand all the texts that is fed, and therefore you need comprehensive reading and understanding, and image recognition is also so good. And you see there, now that was 2020, the computer is in everything better at these human tests. And obviously, I mean, the computer can read, I don't know how many theses. Actually, I was thinking we have to design an AI system to read theses, because they are still waiting 3 or 4 for me at this weekend. And my wife does not like so much if I read them, but okay. She thinks it's not. It's a sign of bad love, but yeah, it's you anyway. So yeah, I think that's quite impressive, and this is only one area, no? So now I would like to come to the content. So this is the technologies. I have not put in too much about machine learning and all this kind of stuff. So I think that other people can explain to you better. But what definitely this graph says, it's from one of my PhD students, Eric Weiss, did his PhD about artificial intelligence, especially in the forecasting area. And sorry, I did not translate it. It's in German. It mainly says that you can use artificial intelligence nearly everywhere. And question, this is something that I think most of the companies are now working on. The question is where to start. That's always a challenge. And that is something that is very interesting from my point of view, has been also all my academic life. We were always seeing new technologies, new developments, and the companies had always the challenge where to start. And sometimes they make a pilot because they want to start, and then they have to choose. So yeah, it's in the headquarter. Of course, there's a big logistics and transportation. I will show you later 2 or 3 examples. Obviously, in transport optimization, we can do better with AI. Forecasting is much better with AI. I remember when we were doing forecasting projects also for Red Bull years ago, 20 years ago, and the computer was not better than the humans, because the problem was that they could not, the computers, the operations research models, they were too, let's say, static. Of course, they were dynamic models, but they were sticking too much on the statistics, and they were not looking at these influencing factors like the weather or all this kind of stuff. And now we can do with artificial intelligence. So although of course a lot of artificial intelligence is also statistical relations, but much more criteria. Yeah. Obviously, for the customer experience in the outlets, as you probably know, Amazon did, for example, they would like to go into also automated outlets, and there the computer sees what you pick, and then it's automatically built for you, because if you have in your bag or in your carriage there. Yeah, I would like to show you one. It's obviously can foster better forecast and predictive analysis, and these are 2 of the stages. Is, as I said, work from Eric Weiss from our PhD circle. They founded a startup to make millions. I always say the joke. I don't know, Gerald, if you know, because you have not heard so many. Maybe the students have heard more than I always say you have to decide for millions or against millions. Of course, we don't talk about assets, but yearly income. So if you want to make 1 million yearly income, don't go to university. I can tell you. There are 1,000 other reasons to go to university, but not the money. And if you want to have 1 million per year, then you have to found a startup, make it big, and then sell, exit. And and you have to think big with AI. And AI sells very good. So their idea is to be how do you say Capricorn. So 1 billion of evaluation. And if you have 5% from 1 billion, then you can live for the rest of the life. It will be more than we earn in our whole career. Anyways, that's Circly. They are very, very good, and they are very doing forecasting. I will go to that very quick. So what AI does, you have to have data sets. You take the data set. So holidays, what are the customer, what is the weather, what are world championship in football, what effect has on the selling of Red Bull, of beer, for example. Other sales activities you put in, and then you train the software, and then it understands that different characteristics, different combinations of data lead to more demand or less demand. A bit more to say. And here on the next slide, you see this is a quite impressive example.
The black one is the sales, the green one is the forecast, and the dotted lines are the tolerance.
It's not a secret. They have also very nice business model as a startup. They say to the customers, you can use our software the first months for free, and then if you want, you can take. And they don't have contract lengths. So they say that because Eric always says that the customers always say, yeah, how long is our contract? And you say you can every month you can stop if you don't want, because they are so much better. For example, I could also say the name, but let's say one big Austrian brewery, they increased their forecast quality by something like 50, 60, 70%. And that's incredible. You come in completely different dimensions. And obviously you can imagine. And it's very easy to test, because what you do is you have your forecasting SAP system or whatsoever. You look at the results. You use for 1 month or 2 months the new forecast, and then you see what is better and is much better. Yeah, there was a question about procurement. This is publication we did about AI applications in procurement. There was the idea to look what kind of fields procurement uses AI and what technologies they used. I did not bring all the article, obviously not there. And you see also here in procurement a lot of areas where AI is improving procurement. One thing that everybody's after is no-touch orders and other automatizations. So in procurement, of course, all these kind of regular orders want to have no-touch order. You don't want that anybody touches them anymore. Yeah, forecasting, obviously. Yeah, and then very, very interesting is contract management. Because with contract management, not only procurement, but also logistics contracts, you have so many documents, and always more and more and more. And of course, if you train the artificial intelligence, it's perfect. It can check is every document available. It can read the content and see, and checks also, because it knows your requirements, and then can read the contract. So it's very interesting area. Yeah, and then obviously also some strategic aspects, market analysis. In former times, we used to use to make a bachelor thesis or master thesis about market analysis. For you, maybe it sounds very strange, because you say, oh, I ask Claude or whatsoever, and say, make an analysis about the truck market in Austria, and then it will give you quite good results. Of course, you have to be careful that then will come, supplier assessment and supplier management. Also, that was one of the questions, obviously there. And I always said with this supply chain due diligence law, as you remember, the European Union, but also in other areas we want to have that. I always said without artificial intelligence, it's impossible to be compliant. Why? Because you have to, if you would like to evaluate a supplier in Thailand, if he has employees that are too young young or children, if you visit the plant, you will never see them. Obviously not. But if you have if you have artificial intelligence could look at the social media, and then at least you will find maybe weak criteria that there might be a challenge. So that's also from my point of view here for the supplier assessment and supplier management interesting, and obviously risk management to get the weak signals. Sum it up, what are in this area, what are the chances, efficiency gains through optimization, fraud protection, safety and security gains, and elimination of bad working condition, especially obviously not per se, but together with robotics. I did not mention that, but the robotic field in our area is quite important. Yeah, but of course there are quite big risks. First of all, digital giants dominate or might dominate the business. Fortunately, it seems that still, if you have a small startup, you can still do good products. As I said here, Eric Weiss, for example, they are growing. Or you read about this Austrian guy that sold AI software to the Americans. There's still possibilities. But of course, they have the power. And when I was having the first presentations about artificial intelligence, the first one were much longer.
2015?
I always showed a graph which showed the number of projects Google or Alphabet did, and you would see that from 2010 to 2015, they went up from, I don't know, 100 projects to 2,000 or 3,000 projects. And I always say, if they are investing so much, if they have so many projects, they will do. AI is a security risk. I think that's even something a bit scaring, and I'm quite happy that I'm working at the university and not at a company. And one big concern, it's not on the short term, but on the long term, is that AI could get out of control. So what you should do, and here I try to make it's not academic, but more like managerial approach to give you 5 points how to develop artificial intelligence supply chain strategy. I think, of course, the first is to create a team or a competence center. In 2 weeks, I make a presentation for a big Austrian logistics service provider, and they now found a team and asked me if I could make a presentation. How they start, and I think that's very important. I mean, that are not dedicated people, but they say
competence
areas. So many of you already have, but that's the first step. The second step is to collect informations. Informations are the key to successful AI projects. Obviously, also AI developments, solutions have to be assessed from the point of view of your company. Data management and digital twins are the key success factors for AI solutions, not only in transport and logistics, but of course for every solution. And because of this, it is necessary in most of the companies to develop a data management strategy, to set up a data management, to set up a digital twin, which is to mirror the physical world, the processes in the digital world. And by doing this, we see what kind of processes have to be supported, what data is needed. After we've done that, we can develop an AI strategy. We can define what our goals are, what are the tools we want to use, and of course how to develop the people. After we have been developing an AI strategy, from our point of view, review, adoption and redevelopment of operational processes can be done. Of course, we cannot redesign all processes. We cannot redesign the planning and optimize everything at once. So from this point of view, it's very important to pick the right processes, to check where AI can support planning the most. Without a proper definition of the data, without a proper definition of the AI strategy, and obviously also without evaluating in which field, in which processes, in which planning, which structures can be optimized the best with AI solutions. And then it's absolutely necessary to change the culture in the companies with AI solutions. We need more start and try approach, and obviously also companies will make a lot of errors, but don't be afraid to make errors. This is an older slide, but I think it's still valid. Companies don't understand AI very much, and they are a bit afraid of AI technologies. The companies are lacking clear AI strategies, but use this kind of Me Too approach. They say, yes, the C-level knows that they have to invest into AI, and they say to their employees, yeah, now we have to make an AI project without a proper strategy. Obviously, and this is still the case, as the technology is moving so fast, there is a risk of obsolescence in AI technologies, and the risk that we invest into a strategy and after a short time new developments make this investment obsolete is quite high. But on the other hand, AI is a learning process. Because of this, even if there are new technologies after a while available, the learning by introducing the AI, and obviously, as I mentioned, the importance of data, these investments in the data management, these investments into the digital twins is not lost, but can be used with any technology, and data and digital twins will always be the key. Employees and sometimes also the management is afraid of the new technology and the risks, and this is hindering a bit the introduction of AI, obviously more in Europe than maybe in other parts of the world. Funny enough, the technical solution is in many cases not the biggest problem. In fact, it's the smallest. There are so many AI solutions available that the probability that you will find a proper solution, a proper AI solution for your processes, for your optimization, for your planning is quite high. I would like to give a short overview about AI in research.
And
Start with a citation of the famous Austrian philosopher Karl Popper, who said, "It's our duty, instead of predicting something bad, to work for those that can make the future better." And so this is my paradigm. I want to make the future better, although sometimes not only in media but also in science, bad news is good news for the selling. Our research program is driven by relevance, and we try to look at theoretical relevance and practical relevance, and this leads us to the field and the topics we are researching. Of course, AI is the biggest research area in our field. Maybe 50% of our publications and 50% also of the master and bachelor theses deal with AI. If you want to check about research, Google Scholar is a very easy and quite good way to look. You see on the right-hand side highlights from our AI research from 2025. First, the role of artificial intelligence across source-to-pay framework, theoretical and practical aspects published. Then exploring supply chain management, complex predictions of dynamic capabilities for the digital transformation. This is not only on AI, but we also, of course, looked how in the digital transformation managers treat AI. And then two AI dedicated papers using sustainable technologies to drive efficiency, artificial intelligence as an information broker for advanced airline operations management, and artificial intelligence for supply chain collaboration, implications on information sharing and trust. So these are the publications from 2025. So you see some interesting from the airline sector and also from the supply chain sector publications on AI. Our most cited AI paper so far is revisiting the bullwhip effect. How can AI smoothen the bullwhip phenomenon? It's an article from Eric Weiss, David Herold, and myself. It's from the PhD thesis of Eric Weiss, and it was cited 59 times. Eric had the idea that how we could use AI to smoothen the bullwhip effect. As you know, the bullwhip effect is the fluctuations that are in the supply chains. It's something that burdens the supply chains a lot. The classical approach is to have transparency. The classical approach is to share the informations, but in reality, it's very difficult to do so. And one of our ideas, beside transparency, beside information sharing, which can also be supported by AI, our idea was to improve the planning. Because the planning from stage to stage in a traditional way was leading to these fluctuations. And if we train the AI not to produce these fluctuations in the planning and also in the execution, that would be a great approach. Down you see our article from 2024 in the field of AI and aviation. Artificial intelligence as a driver of efficiency in air passenger transport, a systematical literature review and future research avenues. This was the first paper of a series of 3 AI papers in the field of airlines. And here we looked what AI solutions were proposed by scientists, what are the technologies that were used in the airline industry. So also quite an interesting article, 52 times cited. And in the last part of my presentation, I would like to discuss the challenges for managers and employees from the point of view of the companies and also from the point of view of the employees. I would like to start with a citation of Oliver Hoffmann, which is a German author. I translated this citation, and he says, "Industrialization took the body, AI is now taking the mind." And I think there's some truth in it. We have to go into fitness studios, especially for like me, older people have to strengthen their muscles. This is because we don't work anymore hard in the fields like farmers do, but we work in the office, sitting a lot, and therefore have to train ourselves. And the same effect is the danger of AI. We see it from our students. They like to use the AI because the more intelligent they are, the more lazy the students are. But there's of course a risk, because if we don't use our mind, it's the same like with the muscles. they get lost, and our mind, if it's not trained all the time, will be lost. And so I think we have to find solutions where the mind of our employees and of ourselves, if we're interested in ourselves, has to be done.
trained.
But obviously also AI cannot subsidize, at least on a medium term, maybe even on a long term, some activities. I think creativity and responsibility will still be part of humans. There are some approaches to that AI can do that also, but as far as I know, we will stay in this field superior at least for another 5 years, and who knows what will be in 5 years. The development of AI is so quick.
With the introduction of AI, we see a shift in the human performance from production to defining the goals, showing limits, evaluation the results.
Obviously also some moral or ethic questions occur.
Should we
give all activities to the machines? Because we still think that at the end of the day, the humans, our employees, should have the control. It's obvious that transport, logistics and supply chain management are facing tremendous structural changes, and they will be much bigger than we have seen before, and the change will be much faster than we have seen before. And this change is in data-driven systems, artificial intelligence and hyper-automatization. Of course, all three are interconnected together. The new robotics, for example, humanoid robots, they will use heavily artificial intelligence. And these technologies will change business processes, value chains and business models. And if the companies don't adapt, the risk that they will be bankrupt is very high. Above all, they are changing the demands on employees. And so companies and employees have to look how to react. It's obvious that AI can do many things much faster than humans can do. Few years ago, market analysis, strategic scenarios, scheduling, also operational planning were tasks of highly specialized experts. If you want to have an overview about the market, for example, of trucks in Austria, AI can do much faster than experts can do, but we still need the experts to evaluate the results of the AI solutions. And I think that is a very important task. And the problem is, if you don't do anymore the job, so if you don't do the market research, how can you evaluate that? And this is something also for us at the universities. We have to try to train, still doing the students some of the activities so that they can evaluate, and to train the students in what I call data knowledge or data evaluation capabilities. Many jobs that were traditionally considered stable or even irreplaceable can be automated, or at least partially substituted by artificial intelligence. The companies have to ask themselves which employees with which competencies we will need for the new AI age. And you, as employees, you have to ask yourself, what skills do I need to have good chances on the job market? I would like to give you in the following some ideas about that. From my point of view, AI competencies are: do not trust the AI 100%. I already mentioned the hallucination. That's very important. Always reflect, can it be true? and try to do plausibilization. Yeah, data awareness is one of the key competencies I think managers should have in future, more than they had before. What is the right data? Are there mistakes in the data? Yeah, the data engineering, how to design the data analysis and data science are very important, and I think that will stay for longer time. In fact, these jobs for data analytics and data scientists are very much requested, and there's a shortage of people who can do this job in a good way. We still need some modeling knowledge, although obviously AI is getting better and better in that. I think to write the right prompts to help the AI to model the structure of supply chains, to model our transport flows, still some knowledge is at least helpful, if not necessary. And from my point of view, the human-machine interaction is very important, the understanding of this interaction, because obviously AI solutions will only be successful if our employees, but also our customers, will accept these. It is obviously that pure expert knowledge loses its status as a scarce commodity. We will still need them a bit, because without some knowledge, it's difficult to evaluate the results of the AI, but it's getting less and less. And when machines can generate information faster and more precisely and in a more structured way than humans, knowledge becomes something that is readily available. Pure knowledge is not anymore that is sufficient. The new scarcity is critical thinking, reflect the results of the AI, the ability to judge. Is that right? Has the AI calculated the costs in a good way? Because very often you don't see any more the processes or the steps which led to the result, but AI will tell you the cost, the average cost of distribution in Austria for a parcel is €3 or something. And then you have to check and to find out, is this right? Can this be? And if it says it's €8, you will see that it used maybe some information for, I don't know, fast delivery or whatsoever, because obviously €8 for a parcel distribution in Austria, at least for a standard postal service, is too high. We will still need creativity, because we see that AI is very good in collecting informations, collecting data, but not so good in creating new ideas, and therefore creativity still will be important. I'm convinced that human skills are becoming the decisive differentiating feature, not only for managers and employees, but also for companies. If they have the ability to work in teams, they will be better in using AI. They will find better solutions for their customer. They will be more resilient. I think that resilience is something that is very important in this ambiguous world, and humans can develop this resilience. Creativity, obviously mentioned, it will stay important. Innovative spirit is important. Strong communication skills. Until now, AI is quite good in communication, but still, I think you see an authentic video. I hope that this one is authentic, that you feel that this is an authentic video and not an AI generated video. So strong communication skills that machines cannot replace. The judgment and evaluation skills I already mentioned, and clear thinking capabilities, which I think is very important. All these skills make people valuable in management functions as well as in operational functions, in logistics, supply chain management and transportation. And logistics used to be people business. It will be more an AI business, but it will also be still people business. What does AI mean for education? Of course, we ask ourselves these questions nearly every day. And I have two answers. AI itself becomes the central content of training. In the management or executive training, as well as in our regular studies, we train our students to use AI, and obviously the importance of data management, the technological basis, and the understanding how AI systems work is becoming more important and will be key competences of our logistics students and the logistics executives. Of course, they don't have to become IT experts, but the combination of knowing and evaluating logistics processes and having skills in logistics and having AI skills will be very, very important for our students and for the executives. And obviously we have to ask ourselves, how do we deal with the fact that students are using artificial intelligence to do exams, for example, take-home exams, or also use them in the bachelor master theses. These classic essay or written elaborations lose their significance. Obviously, we will still write bachelor thesis and master theses. For us, using AI is allowed, but we ask our students to mention the AI use and also to cite the most important prompts they use. Because by seeing the prompts, we can see what kind of ideas they generated with the help of AI and what are their own ideas. In the class exams, presentations, discussions, and live analysis are getting more important. We will come back also to oral exams, although obviously they are much more work for us as teachers because we need more time for oral exams. But in an oral exam, we can quite good evaluate what is the knowledge of the student, what are the capabilities of the students, and what he used with AI. With all these instruments, we hope that not only we can incentivize the students to learn in a good way, but also we can show whether they have really understand or they only claim that they understand how logistics, supply chain management, and transport management is working. What is the future of AI? Of course, I don't have the crystal ball in my hands, but we think that the future of AI is great. And what's something that is very important for these new technologies, we think they are like waves. And like a surfer has to paddle before he knows if the wave is really good. He uses from the instinct. This you also have to do with AI. We have to start now to be prepared. We will go from people making decisions supported by machines. These were the people that were sitting behind the computer, or managers also. We come to the next step, which is now inside, to machines making decisions guided by the people. So managers, employees will evaluate the AI results. They will maybe still take the last decision. And some visionaries in the AI sector, they say we will come to a situation where machines will take decisions guided by machines for people, or, and that would be even worse, for machines. Also, as you probably know, there is some danger that the machines will take over control. Now we are in the area of, on the step from narrow artificial intelligence, an AI, where the artificial intelligence can do some tasks. There is a tendency that artificial general intelligence can take over many processes, but the step that artificial intelligence can take roles like the manager of a logistics manager, this is a bit far. The artificial intelligence, people call this artificial super intelligence, or ASI. Comes or not, we will see. Most probably, I think that there will be big improvements in the last 5 to 10 years. And yeah, we better be prepared as individuals, as society, and as companies. What we'll see from 2030, it's not so far, in 4 years. Most repeatable physical processes will be done by robots. I think we will see an explosion of robotics in the next years, because the combination of robots and artificial intelligence will give huge productivity gains. And as the labor costs are more and more expensive, and the robotics costs and also AI costs are going down, it's obviously what will happen. We will subsidize men by robots. AI and machine learning will replace repeatable administrative work. Until now, the automatization always was a fear for the workers, but now with the AI, we will see big substitution of management tasks and administrative works, including logistics service activities. AI will plan and control many logistics activities. There will still be humans who supervise that in 2030. Agents will make transport and logistics contracts. I think that I mentioned already in the procurement, where we want to have a no-touch order, we will see the same in the logistics contracts. Maybe not, of course, with complex framework contracts. Of course, they help. AI helps to prepare these contracts, but the negotiation will still take on place. But on the simple transport contracts will be replaced. But we will still need the decisions, especially to supervise the AI, to evaluate the results for the creative tasks. Of course, we will need engineers and people to service robotics and also service the IT, because the AI will also be serviced. But these logisticians, they will need, as I have been showing in this presentation, new capabilities and new business models. I want to close these presentations with a citation of Professor Hawkins. As you know, unfortunately he died, but he was one of the biggest physicians at his lifetime. And he said that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. And if somebody like Professor Hawkins, you remember he was sitting in his wheelchair and could only communicate by using technologies, if somebody like that raises this warning, I think it has to be taken seriously. There are also some initiatives from top AI expert that mentioned these risks and were asking for activities, the politicians. But from my point of view, it's very difficult to find the right regulation framework. Especially in Europe, we have the problem that if we do the regulation too strict, we will hinder the AI development, and the risk is that other countries are developing faster. And obviously, the world is not a nice place anymore. There are a lot of dictatorships. There are a lot of states that are governed by few people that for sure have their own interests, and they will not stick to moral and ethic AI, but will use these AI to improve their power. So if we would like to defend our Western democratic systems, we have to design the AI in a way that we are competitive on a worldwide basis. I hope you enjoyed these lectures. Please leave a like, that helps the algorithm. If you want to see more lectures about logistics, transport, and also AI, but also sailing and traveling to funny places, ring the bell and make an abonnement to my channel.